How are you? Hey, there it is. Hey, just leave it right there. It's gonna be pretend like we can do this. Good evening. If I could have your attention, I'd like to welcome you to the regularly scheduled board meeting of the Sulphur Springs Independent School District here in the Administration Boardroom. It is Monday, January 22nd, 2024, and my watch says 6 p.m. First order of business, the invocation of pledges to the flags. The invocation will be led this evening by Mr. Jason Deeks, and the pledges will be led by Mr. Adam Tier. I did that switch on you, didn't I?
I love it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm messing with you.
Hey, hands with it. Gracious God, we are so blessed to live in this community and so grateful for the opportunities before us. Just pray your blessings over this meeting and just decisions going forward, just that we honor you in all that we do. Lord, just thank you for our teachers and administrators. Just bless them and our students, Lord. Just grateful for your care and love for each one of us. Again, invite your presence over our hearts and minds tonight in Christ's name. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible.
Thank you. Be seated. At this time, it's my responsibility to understand if there's establish a quorum of the board tonight in accordance with the Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. And as you can see, all trustees are present. Quorum is established. Public forum. Public participation is limited to the designated open forum for a meeting per board of policy, BED local. Do we have anyone here for public forum? A lot of people.
I'd like to make one comment in public forum. even though I
Can you
didn't
make a
decide.
comment?
You can.
I'm my legal counsel.
I just wanted to recognize Dr. Stever and the entire team for the great job this morning in rallying with First Baptist Church to get Travis moved over there. We had a personal experience with it, and it was wonderful. So thank you for the tireless work last night and early this morning, and to the rest of the team as well. It was very well done according to the feedback I received.
It was,
Thank you.
Dan and his team did a phenomenal job, and Michelle and her staff, and the curriculum department, everybody just chipped in, and it was a good day considering.
Thank you. Thank you, John. We'll move to item 3 of the agenda, recognition. The Sulphur Springs ISD Board of Trustees. That's your part?
That's my part. Okay, so as most of you know, January is School Board Appreciation Month, and so this is the meeting that we want to recognize our board. And I'm going to start by just reading from Governor Abbott. In Texas, we place immense value in our youth. We protect them, guide them, and prepare them for a successful future because we know they are the next generation of leaders for our state and nation. We also understand the key role education plays in young people's lives. School districts across Texas have continued to dedicate time and resources to ensure Texas students receive a rigorous and well-rounded education that will serve as the foundation upon which their dreams will be turned into reality. School boards are an integral fabric woven into the tapestry of the Texas education system. They work with parents, education professionals, and community members to create successful learning environments for our students. Our school boards continue to be instrumental as they tackle new challenges for Texas public schools and serve the ever-evolving needs of our students. Texans know they can count on their school board members along with dedicated school administration officials to create opportunities to discuss important issues, develop innovative solutions, and empower educators while remaining focused on their students' futures. At this time, I encourage all Texans to recognize and honor the work and successes of our school board members who play an important role in the education that students receive across the state. By continuing to support our children's education, we will ensure a better and brighter future for the Lone Star State. Therefore, I, Greg Abbott, Governor of Texas, do hereby proclaim January of 2024 to be School Board Appreciation Month. Just a little bit about our board before I kind of turn it over to principals to share the gifts that they brought. This board there's some interesting facts about this board that I think would maybe not align with most other districts. These 7 board members combined together have 59 years experience as a board member. That's a lot of experience. 4 of them have more than a decade under their belt serving as a board member. So I'm proud to partner with them and the team of 8 that we've established to lead this district. But I thank them for their service, and we're proud of you, and we're honored that you continue to serve our district, our staff, and our students the way that you do. So we will start with, let me start this in. Okay, is Ms. Sinclair here? Right here. Oh, there she is. Do you want to tell us about your gift or share your gift with them?
We did the vest. We made you vests that have our emblem on them that designates you as our school board.
Thank you.
Thank you for all you do.
And our next gift, I think, is from Travis. Travis.
Well, we're very appreciative of all of your work and your dedication to our students here in our district and on our campus. And we have a devotional book for you. So God is with you every day, and we thank you for everything that you do with us, for us.
Ms. Walker.
We did Sulphur crumble cookies because that's always a treat. We do appreciate everything you do for our kids and our teachers and us. We appreciate your support. Thank you for all you do.
We have personalized tumblers for you guys that have your names on them. And from Barbara Bush, we thank you for all of your dedication and everything that you do for SSISD.
We have Rowena Johnson primary with Sasha.
I don't know if y'all are coffee drinkers, but we have baskets for each one of you with coffee cup and all kinds of coffee things. So I don't know who doesn't need more caffeine. So
That'd be probably me.
And next we have SSES with Ms. Palmer.
Well, our little tags say you're the sunshine on a rainy day, and it's kind of fitting for today. So you'll get a new umbrella that has the SS logo on there. And we appreciate what you do for us and your continued support. So thank you so much.
Next we have Sulphur Springs Middle School, Mr. Bodenheimer.
All right, so we had each of in our art classes, they made you a different piece of art based on different mediums. So they're all done in different mediums. And then we also have wristbands. It's a big thing that we're going on this year with wearing it is showing pride in our school and our district. And there's another wristband in there that you're supposed to give to someone that inspires you. So that's what all of our kids are working on. So find someone that inspires you, write your name on it, and give it to them.
Mr. Payne here.
we have goodie boxes for each of you. Awesome.
And we have high school, Mr. Mahon.
So in each of y'all's bags, all of our clubs and organizations, as well as our athletic department, academic departments, just treated you with different gifts from each of those organizations. My wife did make y'all homemade chocolate chip cookies, so those are in there as well. And then Coach Faircloth pitched in some t-shirts for you guys as well.
So we appreciate all of you. Thank you for your service. I know that it's time that you give, and that's a very precious thing. So we appreciate that. We also have a video for you that PR department.
pause, we gotta find some sound. Hey, when I get y'all's cookies.
Way too smoothly.
John, I get your cookies. That'll work.
Okay, do y'all care if I ask you a few questions?
Yeah. Yeah.
Are y'all in the answering mood this morning?
Yeah.
What is the school board?
A scoreboard is
No.
School board. What's a school board?
That's what I asked. What do you think if you had to guess?
It's a lot of equipment and color on it.
A lot of boards in there and you color on it?
Maybe two.
That's what you think too?
No, I know what a school board is. A school board is for, it's for, to like do minus and equals and stuff on it.
Okay. The school board is a group of people that help the school make decisions, and they make decisions for the teachers and the students so that we can have all the things in this classroom that we need to learn. You have this table and our chairs and the books we read and things like that. If that's what a school board is, how many members do you think there are to help?
Oh, I know. I've been to a basketball game and I saw one.
Oh, you did?
There was only
A school
one.
board member was there? Only one to make all the decisions.
Yeah, because they can't
It's a
shoot
lot of
at,
pressure.
because they can't shoot at the same time because you only have one ball. Me too.
How many school board members do you think there are?
Oh, easy.
Easy.
10.
10.
Me too. Because altogether I think there's 10 classes.
Y'all are in agreement on a lot of this, so that's good. Y'all don't argue for your mom, do you?
10 hundreds? But like 10 hundred?
1000?
No,
What do you
no,
think?
10.
Oh, just 10.
I think a lot.
A lot? Like how?
25.
25? Okay.
And then maybe 30.
How much money do you think school board members make?
$20.
$20?
29?
29, maybe $29?
Yeah, maybe 100 cents.
Or 100 cents?
Over 1,000, that's for sure.
Over 1,000?
Yeah. Probably around a million? 10,000?
10,000 a year?
Yeah.
Okay. How much money do you think they make?
How would I know? I don't work there.
Good answer. How do they get picked to be the school board members?
They have to go to a college, or they get, if they are good, very good, they can just get any job that's available.
Okay, so like a school board degree?
Because they said they can if you know how to teach.
They asked them if they could teach, and they said, yes, we can teach, and we can keep kids safe. And they said, okay, you've got the job. That's how?
I want to count to 100.
Count to 20 for us.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, no,
Do the song.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
Because our school board for its time, dedication, and hard work for our students and staff. I would like to introduce you to a few of the many little reasons we are here and why we do what we do.
Love you.
Thank you.
Gracias por todo lo que hacen para que seamos lo mejor. Thank you for all you do
your best.
From the Travis principals, and on behalf of Travis, we sure appreciate everything you do so everyone here can be successful.
Thank you to the school board for your labor of love and for all you do for the staff and students of SSISD.
Thank you, school board, for everything that you do for our teachers and our staff and us. We appreciate it. Thanks.
Happy Board Recognition Month. Thank you for all you do for Sulphur Springs ISD, our staff, and our students. You are greatly appreciated.
Thank you for all you do.
Thank you, school board, for all of the time, sacrifices, and commitment you give to our students and our school.
Thank you.
I want to say thank you to our school board. They've done an amazing job this year helping our staff out. Thank you all very much.
On behalf of Austin Academic Center, all faculty and students here, I want to thank the SSISD School Board for everything you do. We appreciate you.
Sulphur Springs ISD School Board, on behalf of all citizens of Sulphur Springs, I would like to express my gratitude for all that you have done, do, and will do for the community, our staff, and most importantly, our students.
I just want to say thank you to our SSISD School Board. Thank you for all you do. I really appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Sulphur Springs ISD Board of Trustees. Thank you for your heart, your service, and for your time. I believe that the most powerful and profound gift that any of us have to offer is the gift of time. So thank you for your time. Most of the work that you do is behind the scenes with little recognition. And I just want to acknowledge the time that you give our district, that gift of time, weekly, if not daily. So thank you for that. We appreciate you. We see you. Thank you.
Thank you very much. On behalf of the board, I had a good tan going in that picture, didn't I? Hey, Jim Babe, hey. Oh, Tom Sellers, too. Tom sat up here before, didn't you, Tom? Thank you all very much. It is, it's an honor for us to get to serve. We kind of learn on the job, so we can't thank you enough as trustees for what you do, and of course, everyone here tonight. We thank you very much.
Can you clarify
John wanted you to clarify that we get paid. Did you say we get paid? We do not get paid. Our service. Did I clarify that enough for you? Okay. John's our stickler for rules. He keeps me in line. We'll move to item 4 of the agenda, which would be the swearing in of Pat Lieber as the Sulphur Springs Independent School District Police Chief. With those participating in the ceremony, he waved you on, Jason Ricketson, so you might as well get to stepping. Move forward up here and help us out.
While they're coming up, just to say a little bit about Chief Lieber, we're really excited to have him in this role. He has served as interim for us since 2012, and he's done a phenomenal job, working with us to make sure that our campuses are the safest that they can possibly be, and we're very grateful for that. Chief Lieber has 25 years of experience in law enforcement. He's retired from the Sulphur Springs Police Department, and we are blessed to have had him working with our district as an officer since March of 22. So now we're very thankful and pleased to say that he is our police chief for Sulphur Springs ISD, and I'm going to turn it over to Sheriff Tatum and Chief Ricketson now to begin.
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Stever and the school board for letting us be here and do this. It's quite an honor. I've known Chief Lieber his entire career, and I think he's known me my entire career. So it's definitely an honor and a privilege to do this. And I'll have you know, this young man's due to ride the river with. He'll have your back because he's had mine on numerous occasions. Would you come over and get by? It's going to hurt just a little bit. Yeah.
Hit him twice. Patrick's never even stabbed me.
There we go. It's starting to slip a little bit.
There you go. There you go.
You raise your right hand. Repeat after me. I, Pat Lieber,
I, Pat Lieber,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
or affirm
or affirm
that I will faithfully
that I will faithfully
execute the duties
execute the duties
of Police Chief
of Police Chief
of Sulphur Springs
of Sulphur Springs
Independent School District
Independent School District
of the state of Texas,
of the state of Texas,
will to the best of my ability
will to the best of my ability
preserve,
preserve,
protect,
protect,
and defend the Constitution
and defend the Constitution
and laws
and laws
of the United States
of the United States
and of this state.
and of this state.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Thank you, brother.
Thank you.
Sit that folder down. They're probably gonna take a picture right there.
All right. 1, 2, 3. Got it. That's the same Bible.
You got more? We got more pictures. We got a few more pictures. You're not done yet. Shine back up and smile. Let's see. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Lewis, thank you. At this time, we'll move to item 5 of the agenda, but I will say, those guests that were here tonight for appreciation, but also for Chief Lieber's swearing in. I know some of you got to get back to duty. This is the moment we're going to enter into the business portion. You're welcome to stay, every one of you, but you're also welcome to go back and protect me, Jason, at some point. So, hey, Rickerson back on the street. So, if you've got to step out, we understand. Item 5 is the public hearing on Sulphur Springs ISD Texas Academic and Performance Report. Hannah Garrett. There you are. You got here early, too.
I did. I was ready.
I was ready.
All right. Well, good evening, Board of Trustees and guests. My name is Hannah Garrett. I'm the District Science Coordinator and Accountability. And today, in accordance with Texas Education Code 39.306, I will be bringing the annual report of education performance. So if you would turn to your first page of your report, please note that within 2 weeks of this hearing, we will be widely distributing this report, not only on the school website under required postings, but also a printed copy will be delivered to all campuses and will be posted here at the administration building. There are 8 different sections to this report. We are going to be starting with the paper, which is the Texas Academic Performance Report. Within your copy, you have the district report, which is what I'm going to be leading y'all through, within the different subsections. And following that, you will have each campus report as well. From there, we're going to be moving into the team's financial report for the 21-22 school year, their actual report, going into district accreditation, campus performance, a report of violent and criminal incidents on campus, high school graduates enrolled in academic performance in Texas public higher education, the 22-23 progress of the district in each campus towards meeting board-adopted House Bill 3 goals, and finally we'll be going over the TAPER glossary. So within section 1, you go ahead and turn to that page. This is the Texas Academic Performance Report, or TAPER. Please keep in mind that this is a compilation of both student assessment data from STAR and PEAMS data, which is going to be more focused on the staff and student information. This report is published from TEA, and it is a requirement that this is a PDF that has not been altered. This is going to include a wide variety of student performance assessment data, disaggregated data into student groups, including ethnicity and socioeconomic status, as well as a look into school and district staff, programs, and student demographics. We're going to go ahead and move on to the cover page of the district report. This is going to include on the district report, the district name and district number. That's going to correspond into the following reports as well. That is also going to include the campus name and their number. Typically, one of these cover pages is going to have the accountability ratings, special education distinction status or determination status, as well as distinction designations. That information is not going to be shown on this district report due to the delay in the A through F rating from TEA. So as you can see, it's pretty blank. It's just our district name and our district number. Moving to pages 3 through 11 of the report, this is going to be showing both the 2023 school year and 2022 school year within the 3 performance assessments of approaches, grade level, meets, and masters. Those are going to be set out by assessment. Then it's going to be into grades by subject. Then enrolled by grade. Again, it's going to be pages 3 through 11. From there, on pages 12, or on page 12, we're going to be looking at school progress or academic growth. Whenever we're looking at academic growth, it is important to remember that we are looking at math and reading because those are consecutive years versus science and social studies that does not have that consecutive assessment, and we cannot measure growth in that area. We're also going to be looking at the accelerated testers from the 45-45 performance. Whenever we're looking at academic growth, which is sometimes stated, but typically an accountability note, it will not be reported within this file. Moving on to page 13 and 14, we're going to be looking at the bilingual education and those different programs. As you can see, there are 14 different sectors within this. They are also going to be showing the star performance within the approaches, meets, and masters, as well as the annual growth and accelerated learners within that House Bill 4545 performance. Pages 15 through 17 of this report are going to entail star participation. This setup is going to be a little bit different. It is not going to have the 22 and 23 side by side. It's going to first show the 2023 participation rates, and then on that following page it will show the 2022 participation rates. These are reported for all tests, subject areas, and accelerated testers. Moving on to pages 18 through 20. This is going to be looking at attendance, graduation, and dropout rates. Whenever we're looking at our different graduation rates, please note that we do have a 4-year, 5-year, and 6-year graduation rate. Anyone that is not graduated within that 4 years is then we're able to make up for some of that and get them in that 5-year graduation timeline, and again within that 6-year graduation timeline. On page 21, we're looking at the graduation profile of all 21-22 graduates. Those are going to be the total graduates by ethnicity, graduation type, and the different programs in which those graduates participated. And again, that is 18 through 20. Moving on into pages 22 through 23, we're looking at the CCMR, or College Career and Readiness Report. This is reported for the 21-22 and 20-21 graduates. This is a lagging report. That is why you're not seeing the 22-23 numbers here. Within 24-25, on pages 24 and 25, you'll see the related indicators for the CCMR. And on page 26, we're going to be looking at post-secondary indicators. The final pages of the TAPER report, focusing within pages 27 through 29, is looking at the student information. Pages 30 through 32 is going to be looking at staff information. And then the final page of the report will be looking at program information, which is going to be student enrolled in this program and teachers by the programs themselves. Again, please keep in mind that all other campuses are laid out behind this district report. They will follow that very similar timeline, but please keep in mind that there are certain campuses that will be missing certain parts of this report that are secondary, that won't have certain portions of the district report. Oh, I'm sorry. We're going to go ahead and move on to section 2, which is the PAINS financial standard for the 21-22 school year. Again, this is the actual financial report. On the first 2 pages of this report, we are looking at the district total, which is going to give you a side-by-side of district percentages compared to state percentages. Those are looking at revenues, expenditures, distribution tax rates, and fund balance. Whenever we're looking at the corresponding campus reports, which follow, those are simply looking at expenditures. Moving on into section 3, we're going to be looking at district accreditation status. TEA does award 4 different designation status: accredited, accredited warned, accredited probation, and non-accredited. Sulphur Springs ISD did receive an accredited status for the school year. Whenever they are looking at those different designations, they do consider the academic accountability ratings, financial accountability ratings, data integrity, and our RDA. Within your copy, you will have the letter to the administrator addressed from TEA regarding our accreditation status. Section 4, we're moving into campus performance objectives for each campus. This is going to be looking at our campus improvement plans. Within your copy, you have a link to the website. Each campus has their own campus improvement plan that is stated and can be explored within that website. Those do include performance objectives that are made every year, measures towards those goals, and then those are, like I said, every year they will be updated. Moving into section number 5, which is a report on violent or criminal incidents within the district. This is within each campus is the breakdown. That's what you're going to see on those first 2 pages. As you can see, there is one incident that we are documenting here at a rate at 0.1%. Please note that there is an asterisk instead of a number in compliance with FERPA to help protect the identity of the students involved, as it was less than 5. There's also, within this section of the report, a description of school violence prevention and violence intervention policies and procedures. I pulled that directly from the school board policies that y'all have in place. These are the most current up-to-date policies that y'all have. Findings from any evaluations, there were none for this school year, so there is nothing to be reported at that level. We're going to go ahead and move into section 6, which is going to be the student performance in post-secondary institutions. This is looking at performance within that first year of college from our students that have graduated and left. This does come from the Texas Higher Education Coordinating Board. You do have a cover letter whenever you first open to this page. This is just breaking down the different methodologies that they look at whenever we're looking into this information. The following page is from the 2021 school year. That is the most current information that, the 2019-2020 information. That is the most current that TEA has released at this time. They are hoping to release the 2021 information sometime mid-January, which we're here, so we're any day now. Moving into section 7, we're looking at the progress of the district and each campus towards meeting the board goals adopted for House Bill 3. These first 3 tables are showing the district goals and the progress towards those district goals. Anything in red is a goal not met. Green, the goal has been met. And the parentheses are the percentages that we were able to achieve. Again, the first table is looking at literacy. The second table is looking at mathematics. And the table on the back is looking at CCMR, which is the college career readiness. The corresponding tables are going to be accounting for each campus progress towards those House Bill goals. You will not see the CCMR table again because the high school is the only campus that accounts into that measurement, and they've already been accounted for within that district. Look. And the final section, section 8, is the taper glossary. This is going to give you a good idea of how all those different measurements that were accounted for within the taper were created, the methodology. CEA does release a Spanish version, but has not done so yet. So once that is done, those will be able to be handed out upon request once this is all published. Because remember, we do have that 2-week timeline where all of this will be delivered out in printed copy to the different campuses and in our administration building as well. If you have any questions on that report, I know it's pretty hefty. Feel free to contact me. My phone number is up there and my email address. And that is going to be the annual report for 2022-23.
Any questions? She almost gave her cell number. She almost said it.
I almost did. I was like, my cell, that is not my cell number.
That was a great presentation.
Thank you.
John will be emailing you tomorrow. And now we got Adam, so Adam will be too. Thank you very much. We'll move to item 6 of the agenda, reports, and that would be the SSISD Bond Planning Committee presentation.
I'm going to start with just giving a little overview of the committee. We had close to 50 citizens of Sulphur Springs ISD, 47 to be exact, that worked with this committee to come up with a bond proposal. And I have to say, this committee worked so hard. We had originally told them 5 meetings, 2 hours each. We went over every single meeting, I believe, and had to add an additional 6 meetings. And they continued to show up, and they did research, and they brought information back, and it was really it was a pleasure to work with this committee. Parents and non-parents, campus and district staff, community and business members, and we felt like it was important to get a good cross-section of our community, and I think that we did that with this committee. So if you were on the committee, can you stand up if you're here just to be recognized, because these individuals put in a lot of work. Tonight we have 4 committee representatives that will present the actual recommendation. Katie Adair, Wesley Cooper, Steve Lilly, and Michael Williams. I'm going to review, before they get started, review what the committee charge was. So earlier in the fall, the school district, the school board adopted a charge for this committee. So it was to help plan, to help the district plan for the future. To represent the entire community in our facility planning process, to honor the district's history and tradition and values, and assist the district in assessing and prioritizing current and long-term facility needs. So they considered enrollment, building age, safety, student and program equity, and the evolving educational delivery programs. They considered the educational needs of all of our students, considered the district's financial position and funding methods to develop a recommendation that is fiscally responsible, fiscally sound. That was a big focus of this committee, just talking about being fiscally responsible and making sure that we were being good stewards of taxpayer dollars. And then the final piece of it was to report their findings to the Sulphur Springs ISD School Board. And so they are here tonight to do just that. And I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Katie Adair now.
Hi, I'm Katie Adair. I am a resident of Sulphur Springs. I'm married to Zach Adair. We're both graduates of the district. We have 2 boys, a 4-and-a-half-year-old and a 1-year-old. I'm a local real estate agent, and I'm passionate about the district and wanting it to be better, and that's one reason I wanted to be on this committee and be part of it and be part of putting the package together for y'all. what we are going to cover, all four of us, is the information that we studied, and then our recommendation, and then conclusions and looking ahead at the next steps. So like Dr. Stever mentioned, our committee met 6 times over 3 months. I know y'all were there at a few meetings. They were longer than we expected, but they were really good. Each meeting was good. I can honestly say at each meeting you could see people becoming more receptive and eyes being open to what our district needed. And it was good to see. Our committee decided to find the consensus as 67%. So we decided that we needed 67% of the room had to agree for a project to come to y'all for recommendation. At the end, our last meeting when we put our package together, 94% of the committee agreed to support this package. Like Dr. Stever stated, our committee was put together hopefully, to define what our community is. So my hope is that our number is somewhat close to that when this is voted on, that possibly 90-something% of our community can get on board with this bond package. So let's go over some information that we studied during our meetings. We focused on several different things. Facility conditions was huge. We toured several different facilities, very eye-opening. We talked about campus needs, grade configuration. The campus administrators were there also to answer questions about, their campus. We talked about construction costs and inflation, student enrollment and building utilization, and options to achieve facility goals and improve those efficiencies. We studied the district's initiatives for this year, advancing accountability, advancing staff compensation, which is huge, where we're seeing that as not just a district, statewide, nationwide issue, is retaining and recruiting good teachers, and how we can do that. We studied that. How we can advance the facilities, improving learning spaces for the most amount of students, how we could put together a package that would impact the most amount of students and improve working spaces for the most amount of staff. We studied elementary grade alignment. Y'all are very familiar with this, probably everybody in the room is, that we currently have K through 3 campuses and primary schools, and then we have a 4th and 5th grade campus. And STAR testing begins in 3rd grade. And a big component of our STAR test, our accountability, is growth and how those kids show that growth from 3rd to 4th. And SSISD, so any growth of a 3rd grader is reflected in the grade that they're at SSISD from Bowie, RJP, whatever district, whatever primary school they're at. And the administration recommended a K through 5 alignment. Psychologically, there are studies that show that it is much more beneficial for students to have less transitions than more. So we studied the history of the campus configuration, and if you look back, which a lot of y'all, just like we were talking about y'all's experience on the board, were on the board during these times with these changes, so y'all are familiar with it, but in 2012, kids went to 6 different campuses. If they started in kinder and then graduated 6 different campuses. And then currently we are at 5 if they go to Douglas, 4 if they don't. But we do have a large population that goes pre-K, Head Start program at Douglas, so 5. You'll see with the bond package that we're hoping to get that number down. We studied bond history. And it's been 15 years since our district has had a successful bond. That is a really long time. So we talked about we talked a lot about why we thought these last two bonds failed and what we could do in this package that would be different so that we didn't see that failure again. And we studied the bond packages that have passed. We talked about the tax rate, the operating budget, the debt budget, and the overall tax rate for this year. We discussed the tax history, which I think a lot of people aren't familiar with this and what a homestead exemption has done and what our district tax rate has done. This is a great chart and I think will be very eye-opening for our community. Is you can see that from 2018 to 2020 there was a $25,000 homestead exemption, and then in November of 2023 it was voted that it's now a $100,000 homestead exemption. So when you look at a house, let's go to the middle column, a $250,000 house, in 2018, they were paying a little over $3,000 in school property taxes. And today, they're at just under $1,500. Drastic difference. We studied construction escalation, and this was, I think Dr. Stever mentioned this a little bit, but we really studied this on what it's going to look like if we were to wait. And looking what those numbers do. I know this, especially in the back, it's probably hard to kind of read, but if you look at the bottom, it's the time frame. It starts from today, and the last number is 18 months. And then the key on the side is the different trades. So your blue line is concrete, the next four different types of steel, goes down to roofing and copper wire, and goes through the different trades. And you can see on the left, on the percentage, you're looking at from an 8 to 14% escalation in 18 months. So if we really studied that and talked about, well, what would it look like if we waited? You know, if we did a little bit now, we do a lot, you know, more later. Well, you're talking about a huge difference. That's all I have. Wes Cooper is going to talk to y'all about potential projects.
Thank you, Katie. Ladies and gentlemen of the board, Dr. Stever, thank you for having us this evening. My name is Wesley Cooper. I'm married to Kelsey. We've been in this district now for 13 years. We've got two children, Clark and Caroline. Clark is a fourth grader. Caroline is a kindergartner at Travis. Very good job today. I'm not from here. However, in 1988, I've broken one bone in my entire life, and it was in Sulphur Springs, Texas, in 1988. My dad taught and coached right here at the high school, and we lived in a house on the corner of College and Lee Street, and played tackle football of all things in the backyard with a 12-year-old, and broke my bone. So we decided to relocate and move back as adults. It had a lasting impact on me. All right, so I'm going to talk through the different projects that we looked at. So the main priorities of the committee were to address the aging conditions at the primary and elementary level. I think everybody understands the conditions of the schools, and they are old. And as well as they have been kept together for all these years, they're just getting to a point where it's becoming financially prohibitive to continue to do that. Because it's preventing you as a board from being able to do other things with the finances on the M&O side of the budget. Being able to plan for growth. You know, Sulphur Springs, statistically, when you look at the demographics, has been a very slow and steady growing community. But we have seen through other communities how if you don't plan for an explosion of growth, it will catch you off guard if it gets here sooner than you plan. So we wanted to make sure we accounted for that. Not just the slow and steady growth, but as well as, you know, kind of the what ifs. And then we wanted to create a safe and modern learning space for all of our elementary students. One of the things that is very evident right now is depending on which primary campus your kid attends, they have a very different experience from a facilities standpoint. The teachers at the campuses they bust their tails. But the bottom line is there is a discrepancy right now based on which campus your child attends and which primary campus your child attends. So the focus became very obvious to us. We need not one, but 2 new K through 5 elementary schools. The question then was, how do we get there? So scenario 1 was basically breaking this thing up into 3 different chunks. The first bond, which you see on the left, would be building 1 new elementary school, and then, for lack of a better term, putting Band-Aids on everything else. And then coming back for a potential second bond in another 5 to 6 years, potentially a third bond in another 10 in order to get this objective met. There was some discussion, frankly, around if we could get the smaller bond passed and everything went well, maybe you could fast forward that bond 3 and just do 1 bigger bond at a later date. Bottom line is it would require multiple bonds to being passed in a relatively short time frame. And as Katie mentioned, we looked through the escalating cost of construction and everything there. All that was built into this scenario, and the total cost, which you see there at the bottom, is $228.5 million. That was to get to that end goal, that primary goal of restructuring the primary level as discussed. Scenario 2 was doing a bigger bond here at the beginning, doing 2 new elementary schools, but not doing them necessarily to the potential scale that they could be done, basically doing them at a slightly smaller scale and then ramping them up at a later date. And then again, renovating Bush and Bowie, and then renovating either Travis or Johnson for a staff relocation. That's specific to the special ed staff that are currently at Bush, moving them to one of those campuses, but they would no longer house students. And then land acquisition and Douglas renovations as well. And then again, require a second bond to do an elementary expansion down the road, and then potentially start to address issues at the middle school and high school campus. So the first 4 meetings, these were the 2 bonds that were discussed. Something funny happened at the very end of the 4th meeting. As you've heard already, these meetings were long, and not a little long, like they were dragging out. But something happened. Everybody was kind of ready to go home. And at the end of that 4th meeting, an idea came from one of the tables. This was not an administration idea. These were the 2 scenarios that were really presented to the committee as, this is kind of the direction we're wanting to go. What are your thoughts? Well, us being the good committee members we are, it had to have been a largely Baptist group, I'm assuming. They just said, hey, we think we have a better idea, and they came up with scenario 3, which is what you see here. It was basically, the question was asked, what would it cost for us to just get it all done now? As you saw, the financial advisor told us, I guess it was in the 3rd meeting, that we have what's called a bonding capacity of $150 million, which is, what that means is that's based on the amount of tax revenue we are bringing in as a district and the amount of bonds we're paying off. How much can we afford to go do without changing the taxes at all? And that number was $150 million. Well, as you can see, to jump back up, the cost for the bond 1 in scenario 2 was $138 million. The total cost of $197 was cheaper than scenario 1 of $228. But the question was asked, how much would it cost to just go ahead and get it all done now? And so scenario 3 was presented as an idea, and the team, the architectural team from Huckabee went, put the numbers, and came back in meeting 5 with this, which was build 2 new elementary schools, renovate Bush, do the Bowie upgrades, and move the staff that's currently at Bush to Bowie, to where Bush and your 2 new elementary sites would house all your K through 5 students. Obviously, you've got to buy the land to build the new campus on, and then renovate Douglas. And the total cost of $163 million, with this bond being $157 million, was a very, very interesting scenario, and it generated a lot of discussion in the 5th meeting. We ended up taking a vote at the end of the 5th meeting that was relatively split. Shockingly, even to Dr. Stieber's surprise, scenario 3 had a lot of support. It had a slight majority of the support, but it was not what we had considered, again, a kind of a supermajority or a consensus. So we were tasked at the end of meeting 5 to go out in the community, talk to people, ask questions, gather data about the different scenarios. And when we came back in meeting 6 and we started sharing that, and of course we were talking in between the meetings, a lot of what we were hearing, even though the bond in scenario 3 was the largest package, we kept hearing people say that it was the most financially responsible of the 3. Because what people were looking at was the total cost of the project. They weren't looking at the size of the current bond. And so that was a very interesting take from visiting with the members and from what committee members were sharing. So this last page here is the 3 scenarios that were considered, just in a nice little summary. And to answer the question, there was a little bit of a tax rate increase, which you'll see a little bit more about here in a minute, but it was a very, very minimal tax impact in order to get everything done. So this is the layout, current structure, as you can see there on the left, of our current 5 schools, the 4 primary campuses plus SSES. And then scenario 1, just to make sure this is clear, the gold schools would be the ones that remain and the blue schools would be the new ones. So in scenario 1, we build 1 new one, we keep 3. Scenario 2, we build 2 and we keep 2. And then scenario 3 was we build 2 and we keep 1. You see the bond amount there on the May 24 on that row. The tax impact, no tax rate increase in scenario 1 or 2. There is a tax rate increase on scenario 3. That is $0.25 penny, just to be clear there, and we'll talk more about that. And then the future bond timeline, again, was a big piece of this, because if scenario 3 were the one to get the consensus, if we could get that passed in this district, we are done with the primary restructuring, and we can much more quickly move on to other projects, dealing with middle school issues, dealing with high school issues, because we're not having to take those years to continue to solve this issue. So, Michael Williams, if you would please step up and talk about the recommendation.
Thank you, Will. Okay, most of y'all know my name is Michael Williams. I'm originally from Delta County. Grew up in the Black Land, moved to the Sandy Land in 97. My wife, I love her that. So I came here in 97, married her, married into Randy Reed's family, which I think most everybody here knows him. So anyways, I feel honored to present to y'all our recommendation. So our recommendation basically gets us the 2 schools, 2 brand new ones. It's upgrading the 3 other schools. Barbara Bush gets a total upgrade, Douglas. Bowie's special program staff is upgraded. The Travis and Johnson primary will be decommissioned. It is our recommendation to title Rowena's name onto one of the new schools, if possible. Our recommended projects, the values there are showing to be the total bond recommendation. 69.91 million for one, 68.72 for the other. The renovations, 6.72, 3.75, 1.33 million, and Douglas at 6.72. When you take into account the value of these projects, and the total tax increase that we're fixing to see, it's really unbelievable. So our recommendation is we recommend that the SSISD Board of Trustees call a bond election to be held May the 4th, 2024. We recommend that the projects outlined on the previous slides be included in the bond proposal to provide critical facility updates for our youngest students and allow the district to remain students from deteriorating school buildings that drain the district of valuable resources and emergency repairs. We recommend a single proposition for $157,150,000. This proposal will increase the INS tax rate by 1/4 penny, which equates to an increase of $1.47 per year for the average house in Sulphur Springs district. If you look at these values, you can kind of get an idea of what the total increase is. $250,000, $3.75. You can't even go to Starbucks for that. People are going to ask about, you know, as far as businesses, you know, what I mean, you take $1 million and you get a tax rate increase of $25 for $1 million business. I mean, that's insane. Why would we not do that? So at the end, the committee all voted if we all could support this recommendation, and we had 2 people on the entire committee that did not, and we had a total of 94%. I think that stands pretty strong to where we stood and what we found and what we believe in this district. So, thank you. Steve.
Thank you, Michael, and to the Board of Trustees and Dr. Stever, thank you for the opportunity to be here. My name is Steve Lilly, and you might not be, some of you that know me might not be surprised that I've been asked to deliver a closing argument of sorts for the bond committee's work and the recommendation that we're making. So my wife and I and our oldest and daughter moved here in 2005. She was 9 months old. Savannah was in the nursery with Jason's son Luke at Methodist Church, and she was one of those children that went to 4 schools before she started 6th grade. That was a lot of schools. It was a lot of schools, and maybe it was a little bit of that, but also I know that when it came time and the district was asking for people who were interested in being on the bond committee again, I decided that I would sign a little form on Facebook to see, what this was all about. I hadn't been a part of any of the others before, and I wanted to be part of the solution if I could. And I also, the last 2 bond measures that did not pass, those sting. They still do. I know they do for me and a lot of the people on the committee. I'm sure that they do for all the board members that were there, and even if you weren't. So let's talk a little bit about this right here. So I think this is one of the most important things we can talk about, the mission of Sulphur Springs Independent School District. And I'm just going to read a portion of it right here. We are SSISD, an innovative, student-centered, family-oriented district preparing all students to adapt and excel as citizens in a fast-changing world. I believe that everybody in this room, I think, tries to live up to that mission every day. I think that the students do, and their parents, the teachers, and the staff, and our school board and our administration does as well. Over the years, especially over the last 20 years, I would say, maybe give or take, we've had to model one of those things more than anything else, and that is adapting. Because the facilities that we have required us to do so. We just need to look today, this morning, as an example of adapting and what the facilities and the areas immediately surrounding it have required us to do, to take extraordinary efforts. And we all are familiar in here about some of the other things that we've had to do over the last year and more to adapt. that's where we are. We have 3 primary schools in Travis, Rowena, Johnson, and Bowie that have been around for decades, and they're all mainstays. My daughter went to Bowie. All 3 of my children went to Bowie Elementary, and they had a great time there. They've been a source of pride, not just for our family, but for the thousands of kids who've gone to all 3 of those schools and all of the district. But those schools are showing their age. I think that's obvious from what happened this week, what's happened over the last few years. All 3 of those schools, and really more, but I'm focusing on those 3, about and how that feeds the need that we have for these 2 new schools. All 3 of those primary schools were built before classroom computers. They were built before handheld calculators. They were built before statewide mandatory testing and before many of the special programs that every school in the state is required to have. I looked this up, but one of our 3, Travis, was built before the first American was put in space. And all 3 of them were built before Neil Armstrong walked on the moon. So we believe, as a committee, that it's time for our district to make its own giant leap into the future. With this bond package, we believe that every student in our district will be in a modern, safe school that was built for this century and not in the middle of the last century. So I took the liberty, kind of in conclusion here, I was noticing on the Sulphur Springs Independent School District Facebook page that there were some bios of the different school board members that had come up over the last few days. And I was looking at it, I was particularly interested in each one of you eventually, as of today, had a bio up there, and it said, like, what do you feel is unique about Sulphur Springs Independent School District? Well, at the time I wrote this, I had information on 4 of them. I promise this is not a roast, but I'm going to make sure that you, what I saw that leapt out at me. So, as far as what each one of you found is unique about our district. So, Mr. Dietz, you talked about the sense of community as being unlike any other district that you've been to in your work on the school board. And I think that that's true. And I can only imagine what kind of pride our community will have when we have new schools here. It's only going to add to it. Mr. Wright, you talked about SSISD as being the hub of our city. And I think that's true also. I also think that this hub is showing its cracks. And I think that new schools, 2 new elementary or primary schools, are going to make sure that this district remains a hub for this city for decades to come. Long after any of us are here, y'all are here, all of our children have long graduated, and it'll still be a hub for the city. Mrs. Tolliver, you talked about the number of teachers that impressed you, that they went to school here and grew up here, graduated from here, and they now teach here, and how impressive that is and how unique that is. I can only imagine, I hope we all can, what brand new facilities will do to attract even more graduates of our district to come back here and teach. But not only them, teachers from all over the area will come here because we have the facilities that they want to be a part of teaching in. Last one I saw last week, Mr. Roberts, Craig Roberts, you wrote about how the teachers and staff are leaders in our community and how unique that is. And I absolutely believe that as well. And that leads me to think that the leadership can continue to move us forward, and I think it starts right here with the school board. We are proposing this bond that is big. It's bigger than the 2 that did not pass. And we have a job ahead of us. Everybody in this room and beyond has a job ahead of us. But I don't think it's any bigger than the needs we have. I think it's as big as the needs we have in this district. And that's why we're asking this committee to start that leadership process by calling unanimously for this election in May of 2024. We believe that our community will support it and it will be approved. Otherwise, we would not have brought it before you. We think it could happen. And like I said, we all know that there's work ahead of us. We're willing to do it and we're looking forward to it. And I believe that with your help in this first step, that we as a community will continue to live up to that mission statement that's right there. First part is my favorite. We are Sulphur Springs Independent School District.
So just next steps, what will happen next is we're asking the board to study this recommendation and between now and the next board meeting. And the next board meeting is on February the 12th, and that's where it will be an agenda item, and if they so choose, they'll vote to call an election, consider calling that election. So just a calendar, board meeting's on the 12th. The deadline to call the May election is February the 16th. So should the board vote on February the 12th to call an election, then what would happen would be the board, we would schedule election ethics training for the board. We would schedule election ethics training for our staff. We would start a voter education, communication plan, and then if it were to pass, we would begin project design. So again, dates up there, when early voting starts, voter registration deadline is April the 4th, and then election day would be May the 4th. Just wrapping up, I wanted to say thank you to, of course, these 4 committee members that served as representatives and presented tonight. Thank you to the committee who put all of those hours in, hours that that we didn't see, that on your own, outside of even the committee meetings. I know that you put time into meeting with people and getting information. Thank you to Huckabee. We have 2. We have our architect here, and then the consultant, so Arena Blake and Mark Berg, thank you. And then our financial advisor, Lucas Jonda, is here also. So as the board, if you have any questions for any of these individuals, I think they're happy to help answer that.
If we do have questions, we can ask them as time comes by. Okay.
Appreciate hours and presentation tonight. It's great. Thank you.
If we have any questions of architect or financial advisor. Thank you again for all the time. We really appreciate it. We'll take it under advisement. We'll begin the process as Dr. Stevers outlined. So can't thank you enough. One more round of applause for the video. I'm rarely kind, but at this time I'll be sort of kind, and I'll take like a 25-second pause before I go to the next agenda item, which has nothing to do with any of those on the committee. So if you would like to leave, now's your opportunity to stand up and exit. You're welcome to stay. We're going to go into the bill paying section and have a single action item tonight. I'm sure Justin's going to be riveting in his presentation, but no one's staying. You're good to go. You're good. You're good. You're good. Yeah. No, hey, she won't go far, so we'll find it. Hey, thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you all. The closing of item 6, which is the reports, we'll move into item 7, which is the consent agenda items. These items will be presented in the form of one motion. If at any time any board member or trustee would like to break these out as a separate action item discussion, they can be. Item A, Monday, January 28, 2024 board meeting minutes. Item B, the tax credits and supplements for December 2023. Delinquent tax collections for December 2023. And financial statements and bills payable for December 2023 with any noted abstentions as listed. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented?
So moved.
A motion by Mr. Tier. Do I have a second?
Second.
I have a second by Mrs. Tolliver. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion carries. Item 8 is action items of the agenda. Item A, consider approval of the TASB policy update 122. Mr. Justin.
Yes, thank you, board, for the opportunity to present to you today. As we've done before in the past with big updates from the state, there's a lot of information they kind of just give us at one time, and you have access to that in your board docs. I'm sure you've read over all of it as I have. But let's go over a couple of things in the local policy that are going to affect us just to make sure that you're aware of those, because we do have the options to change wording. And this is kind of one of those, it's a big one. There's also some small ones that have come in the aftermath. So in CQB local, it talks about technology resources and cybersecurity, kind of adds that threat into our things that we have to report to the state if there's a major breach notifications to the state for any kind of security incidents. Facility standards, safety and security, talking about audits that we have to have as a school district. We can't really change that, but we have to be able to address that we are having those. We've already had some. We actually had one last week at Austin Academic and passed with flying colors, so that's great. Our district has done a really good job of kind of embracing that and doing a great job there. Employment practices, DC local is going to add in a nepotism exception for bus drivers. As you guys know, across the state and across the nation, bus drivers are hard to come by. This morning, for instance, I got called at 6:15 to drive a 6:40 route. So we are all the time looking for new drivers. So this basically just kind of wipes out the fact that if you guys have a family member on the board or the superintendent had a family member that was a certified bus driver, they still can be hired with board or superintendent approval, and it would not go against the nepotism clause. You would have to step off the board, which is a good thing for us. If you know anybody, please send them our way. Personnel positions. This is kind of one that we'll bring to you next month, but we have to present it to you today and then talk about kind of a precursor of what we're going to talk about for next month. This talks about chaplains as volunteers or employees at schools. These stays requiring everyone by March 1st to decide and have a vote on if they approve having chaplains on campus as part of their paid staff, or if they approve them as still being volunteers as any other person would be. Chaplains can be used as a counselor on campuses that are lacking counselors, or some districts are using them in addition to counselors. So it's something that we will discuss. I know you guys will have some closed session today, an executive session, kind of discussing things on what our options are as a district, what we would approve or not approve, and then we'll get TASB to create that language for us based on your recommendation. Then we have EHB local, talking about special programs and curriculum, and it's basically just saying that we're going to be testing all of our students for dyslexia that are screened, and then any of those that are screened as dyslexic will be placed into special education instead of Section 504, which they have done in the past. Lindsay and her team have already started that process, so we're well ahead there. EHBC local combined with EHBCA. So basically, House Bill 4545 that we got 2 years ago required instruction that was anything that any student failed a test in the STAR, EOCs or STAR tests in any grade, they had to receive intense extra education time of 30 hours. The new law now does not require exactly 30 hours, it just requires accelerated instruction. So that basically just kind of reworks itself into, instead of doing committees, now we just have to go up with a plan for each individual student. Our campuses have already started working on that process because 4545 has been null and void. That's a good thing. Academic achievement class ranking, this is another one that we will discuss and try to come up with the best plan for our district. It's about a student that that passes a course. The state has given each school board the ability to be able to say a parent can allow their child to retake a course to either earn a higher grade or not. And so as a district, as a school board, we will let you have that policy decision on what you want on those. Some districts are approving that, and some districts are following TEA's guidelines and saying, no, you cannot. So again, this is another one that we have to present to you before we present the actual wording for the new rule. FEA local covers compulsory attendance. It's adding in a new way for students to be able to get out in the field. Instead of just being college visits they can get excused absences for, they're also able to go through and do career investigations. So if you're interested in becoming a tax lawyer, you can actually go to an office and job shadow for a couple of days and get 2 days on your junior and senior year excused absences, which is good because we all know that all of our students will not go on to college or even trade school, so some of these students will be able to get out and find something that actually sparks their interest, and we can give them days for that. Wellness and health services, medical treatment. As you know, we have to have Narcan or something similar to that to be able to basically counteract any type of fentanyl overdose or overdose of other types of drugs. So we have to come up with a policy, and TE has come up with a policy, and it's basically in here how to get rid of the Narcan once it's expired. And then the last one is crisis intervention. for students. So we currently offer a online hub that they can go to, students can go to and anonymously report a student who is acting suspicious or has made a threat against someone or a building. And now that is in law that we have to require that to be an anonymous thing for students as well as a staff member. So if a staff member does find a student that they believe is going to harm someone or harm someone else, or themselves or the school, they can make that report and they can remain anonymous where they would not be able to in the past. They're hoping that that allows more faculty members to be able to bring students that are concerning to the district. Those are our locals. The legal side, as I said before, we can't do anything about those, but most of them are dealing with just minor word changes. There are some things in there about security, some of the new basic security allotment and measurements that we must take as a district, and we're being checked on constantly, as we talked about the audits earlier. A lot of it revolves around that, but there are 92 of those additions. I'm not going to go through all of those because they are legal side that we can't touch, and we've already been updated on most of these. We've already got the ball rolling. Are there any questions?
Justin, at the local, was that just your first reading of that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Yes.
so you've actually done, you're not.
Yes, we do
doing
not have to vote and approve any of the local or the legal.
Okay. All right. Any questions for Justin? If there are no questions, we'll move to item 9 of the, which would be the executive session as authorized by the Government Code, Chapter 551, subchapters D and E. Do I have a motion to move into executive session? I have a motion by Mr. Dietz. I have a second by Mr. Cricket. All in favor, please say aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Moving to executive session at 7:21 p.m.